Hello everybody, this is Starman and welcome back to Let's Play Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Well, we are here in the library at Venice, which used to be a church, getting ready to start searching for clues for what exactly Indy's father was looking for here. But first, we're going to take a quick look at the plaques and the books, because there's a couple of gags here. Some of them are actually funny. It says, dedicated to my favorite little library from a lover of fine literature, D. Alighieri. That would, of course, be the poet Dante. Donated in honor of Count Spielbergano den Amblioni. Blah, blah, blah. Well, whatever it was, it's a Spielberg reference. It's an archaic Italian. For a great library, even if it is in a second-rate city, Romulus and Remus. Those would, of course, be the founders of Rome. It's an Italian proverb. A library without bookshelves is like a haphazard pile of books. It says, donated by Giorgio Lucasi. George Lucas, of course. And it's in Italian. These are sentimental books, but nevertheless they move me. G. Galilei, and that'd be, of course, Galileo. Anyway, the bookcases mostly look like they are color, but there are a few useful items in them if you use the what is to find them. It's called How to Fly a Biplane. And if we look at the manual, it actually provides us with instructions on how to fly a biplane, which, depending upon which route you take through the game, could wind up becoming useful. Dad searched for Roman numerals everywhere. Looks very familiar to me. It's inscribed with these symbols, IV, VII. And if we look at this inscription, someone cut numbers into the stone, IIIIIIX. Well, if we look at the Grail Diary to figure out what exactly we're looking for, note the particular care taken in drawing the shield, the areas above it, and the angels. The cryptic message below seems to have something to do with Roman numerals and stone pillars. If ye would enter, follow the second on the left. Okay, so we're looking for a mirror that has two suns above two angels facing the left, a knight in a helmet behind the shield, and three grails in the middle. Well, now that we've looked at the grail, we can actually look at the window. It looks very similar to the picture in the diary. When we find the right one, now Indy will say, that looks exactly like the one. Of course, you can also just guess looking at the proper symbols. In this case, the angels are facing inward rather than both facing the left. Great selection of animal books here, particularly concerning amphibians and avians. Aristophanes. That would, of course, be the Greek playwright who wrote The Birds and the Frogs. This plaque intentionally left blank. It is idyllic here, but everyone tells me to hush. E. Caruso. Books like these are my cup of tea. Socrates, who, of course, famously drank hemlock rather than tea. I have love for these books that transcends passion and sexuality. There's just no good word to describe it. Plato. That would, of course, be a reference to Platonic love. Charming town. I particularly taken with a tradesman I met, W. Shakespeare. That would, of course, be The Merchant of Venice. And forgive me for being literary, but, well, I am a librarian. It comes naturally. And there's this one odd book leaning here. It's that book by Hitler, Mein Kampf. Looks like a first edition. And this is also not the mirror we're looking for. Or, I mean, not mirror, window. I love the military books here, but they had the gall to divide them into 3 parts. J. Caesar. Don't look now, but the librarians are plotting against you. N. Machiavelli. We are not. Wonderful place to stop for a visit while traveling. Could use more books on pachyderm care. Hannibal. I don't see anything special about it. Great cooking section. El Borgia. Another proverb. He who lives by the book dies in bed. Empires come and go, but a good library is forever. A. Petalius, head librarian, Library of Alexandria. That makes me sad. And one more book. Maps of Ancient Italy. I could have fun in this section. Because the one at the end, Secrets of the Roman Catacombs. And if we look at that one, Book of Maps. Deep beneath the city lies the paths to the tomb. And this gives us a very rough map of the routes we need to go in order to find our way through the labyrinth that awaits us. But that is all of the books we can interact with. And this one we actually have to move from left to right. The library staff apologizes for the defaced plaques in this section. The employee responsible has been terminated. Because somebody set up a limerick. An emphatic librarian said, "These inscriptions just make me see red." They are clear fabrication, and my deep indignation is just driving me out of my mind. And see, this one looks similar, but instead of the grails, it has the image of, I believe that's meant to be Jesus. And this one looks just like the picture in the diary. Could use more books on aviation and painting. Leo da Vinci. It's just capital how this building refuses to wither away. K. Marx. Honk. H. Marx. Viaduct. G. Marx. Although, amusingly, that was Chico's line, not Groucho's. You're supposed to be reading the books, not the plaques. Superb library, but dull ceiling. Mike Angelo. I'm trying to pick up the cordon barrier, so I can then pick up the metal post. And this is again taken directly from the game, or the movie. The biology section is primitive now, but every day it grows more fit. See Darwin. See Darwin run. Run, Darwin, run. The geography section is rounded out well. See Columbus. Ah, Venice. Its library is fit for a king. Marco and Giuseppe Palmieri. I'm happy to contribute to this wonderful library, but the use of columns disturbs me. S. Freud. Fabulous layout. I love to start in one spot and then work my way around the entire library. F. Magellan. And finally, I'd love to stay and support my local library, but I have a craving for Chinese food today. M. Polo. Okay, so the Grail Diary said if you would enter, follow the second on the left. So we go ahead and look at the second one. It says, I see some numbers carved here, 624. Second on the left would be 2, but I'm going to go ahead and save here really quick. Just to show you what happens if you choose poorly. Because this being a LucasArts game, they don't punish you with fake deaths, usually. What was that noise? User, don't move! Somehow I don't think that was the right slab. And when you exit out, the guard grabs you and throws you out of the library. But you're free to go back in and try again. And miraculously, the slab will be repaired in the time it takes you to get back there. Isn't that amazing? But just double check. 2. So we use the middle post upon the 2. And this time, we fall down into... Bingo, a set of catacombs. And there'll be a few places we have to stop along the way, but we'll only be able to use them in the room like this. The actual maze itself will not let us keep this handy. Yeah, we're going to start off here where there's 3 entrances. We will go ahead and take the leftmost exit. And typically when you see an archway, that's a sign that you want to head that direction. And there's a torch here. It's held in place by hard, dry mud. So not much we can do with that at the moment. But we can find this room, which has a slab of some type. And yeah, you can see there's a dead end there. I think there's one room that we should have gone to before this one, though. Yeah, here we go. So we need this fellow to give us a hand. Or a hook. An old pirate's hook. And I guess it's true what the song says. The hook brings you back. Oh, don't look at me like that. And there is one more room on this level, but we can't go through it yet because water. I hate water. Yeah, he doesn't hate water like he hates snakes, but after the whole Cross of Coronado thing, I can't blame him for being reluctant to go swimming. And this brings us to, well, a not-so-ancient sewer. Let's go ahead and open the manhole. And we emerge in the middle of the fancy restaurant that we were in earlier. She looks pretty bored. I can't say I blame her. He can't decide between the fettuccine and veal. His eyes are on the girl in the corner and his book is upside down. Why would anyone want a cat when they could have a dog? She's just a sweet old Italian woman, whose pet you just insulted, you dick. I can't say much for his table manners, but I marvel at his appetite. She's either in love or there's something in the wine. He's either in love or drunk on this bad wine, or both. And if we look at the wine, 1924, a very bad year. I knew that! Well, now that we've noted that it's a bad wine, mind if I take this? Of course not. It was a dreadful wine. And now that we have this wine bottle, we can use it on the fountain. Now the bottle's full of water. And with that, we can go back and deal with that hard, dry mud. That loosened the mud. And the wine bottle broke, but that does get us down to the lower level of the catacombs. And we can use the hook there, but we're not going to do anything with that just yet, because first we have to come in here to read the inscription. These look like inscriptions. Wait a minute. This looks familiar. Yes, it describes the Grail. My father's diary is right. It was either that Welsh vert Taliesin wrote, or Sir Richard Burton's tale that Lady Eleanora wrote of. Is the correct account of the Grail. And read through that again and be sure to take notes. Because the original game came with a prop version of the Grail Diary, which acted as copyright protection, and it had 10 Grail descriptions written in. And every time you play the game, it picks 2 descriptions to give you here. And it's very important that you note which one is which. Okay, well now that I've got that written down in my Grail Diary, we can go and make sure that nobody else can get here. And also, handle this whenever issue. Because that ladder comes up to this slab right here. Which means that now we can go to that sunken area behind the water. But first, actually, I was thinking that there is another area we have to go to first, but actually it is after this part. Yep, here we go. This looks like there's some type of ancient machinery here. And yeah, looking at it doesn't give us a description, but it's pretty clear that something here broke. So what we want to do is use the red cordon on the machine. We can then spin the wheel here. Or pull the wheel, I guess. And this will open a mechanism later. And once again, we have to check the Grail Diary. It says this configuration is labeled correct. This one is labeled certain death. How curious. So yeah, the skeleton, the catapult, the horse, and the satyr, the banner, and the angel. And the trick on this is that turning one will change most of the others. The middle one doesn't move. And just for comedy value, I'm going to go ahead and show you what happens if you do the wrong one. Let's see, won the horse the wrong one. Oh yeah, horse, catapult, and then the skull. Well, I got the correct one by accident, trying to mess around with it, but oh yeah, skeleton, catapult, and then the horse. And if I recall correctly, in the original game, that did kill you. Here it just dumps you back at the main exit. Not that it matters too much, since we have the handy-dandy save and restore trick. And thanks to having fixed the machine up top, we now have the bridge here fixed to walk that way. And this is a handy place to check the map book again. So we're clearly in this part right here. So we want to just keep going west. And it appears that we have a row of skulls here, which we will take a look at the Grail Diary again. It has a note here from a manuscript from Abbess Hildegard of Bingen. The excerpt uses an obscure musical notation. I'm not sure why it never has more than 6 notes. Well, this one's pretty basic. Each of the skulls corresponds to notes. We've got 5, 5, 6, 3, 6. So we just have to push the skulls in the right order. 5, 5, 6, 3, and 6. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. And this one, unfortunately, there's nothing else for it, but good old-fashioned try-again-ism, because there is no map of this final floor. But eventually we get to this. The Knight's Tomb. And since we are just past the half-hour mark, I'm going to go ahead and stop here, since there is a lengthy cutscene after this. But next time, we will learn the secret of the Knight's Tomb and move on to the next adventure. See you next time.